Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Warrant Officer Class 1, Joanne Davey. We warmly welcome the family of Flying Officer Edward Berkley Rowell, whose story will be told shortly. We also welcome Air Commodore Retired Peter McDermott, representing the Air Force Association. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We also acknowledge the members of the RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland, who are watching this ceremony broadcast across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Thank you. If you're able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Flying Officer Edward Berkley Rowell. Edward Rowell was born in Sydney on the 17th of November 1921, the son of Edward and Constance Rowell. He attended state high schools in Lismore, Newcastle and North Sydney, and went on to work for the Bank of New South Wales at Cootamundra and Barmedman. Known by the nickname Teddy, Rowell joined the Royal Australian Air Force Reserve on the 9th of January 1942. A few months later, on the 23rd of May, he attended a recruiting centre in Sydney and enlisted in the Royal Australian Air Force. As part of the Empire Air Training Scheme, Rowell was one of almost 27,500 RAF pilots, navigators, wireless operators, gunners and engineers who, throughout the course of the war, joined Royal Air Force squadrons or Australian squadrons based in Britain. He began training as a pilot, first in Temora, where he attended elementary flight training school. In December, Rowell embarked at Sydney, bound for Canada. In Ontario, he attended service flying training school. In late June 1943, he embarked for the United Kingdom, and in early April 1944, he joined an operational training unit based at RAF Silverstone, where he trained as a night bomber pilot. On the 6th of September 1944, Rowell was posted to number 467 Squadron, an Australian squadron under the command of the Royal Air Force, which consisted of a mixture of personnel from various Commonwealth nations. On the 23rd of October 1944, Rowell was a pilot of a Lancaster 4-engine heavy bomber tasked to carry out a bombing attack on enemy targets at Lissingen in southwestern Netherlands. In the face of bad weather and reinforced anti-aircraft defences, the RAAF squadrons involved lost 3 aircraft, had 5 more badly damaged, and thought that many of their bombs had overshot the target. Rowell's aircraft never returned. With no certainty about his fate, his father wrote to military officials and the Red Cross in search of news of his son, but to no avail. Edward Rowell was later presumed to have died on the 23rd of October 1944. He was 22 years old. Today, he is commemorated on the Runnymede Memorial, which commemorates more than 20,000 airmen and women who lost their lives in the Second World War during operations from bases in the United Kingdom and North and Western Europe who have no known grave. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, amongst almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Flying Officer Edward Berkley Rowell, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We'll remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director and staff, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support of the Memorials Development Project. We particularly appreciate your visit despite the challenges posed by COVID, and we wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.